We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
It's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people.
To say it's been a wild ride would be probably one of the biggest understatements of 2020. The presidential election was supposed to be a runaway for the Democratic nominee, Joe Biden. Michael Diamond is with me. He's a principal at Upstream Strategy. Okay, what went wrong for the Democrats? What went right for the Republicans? And when are we going to have a result?
Well, I take issue with the question because I am quite convinced that when it's all said and done, Joe Biden will be elected president, and that means the evening went well for the Democrats. That said, it wasn't necessarily the path that they thought. They were talking about Texas, which was always nonsense. Georgia still looks tight. North Carolina probably out of reach. So they were planning a path that they didn't need. He'll still win, but it's not the way they thought it would be.
The ballots are still being counted in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, and Nevada, and Georgia. Some are looking decent for Donald Trump. Some are looking better for Joe Biden. Where are those ballots coming from? Are these the mail-in ballots that the Democrats focus so hard on, whereas the Republicans focused on day of election?
And we talked about that the other day, that Donald Trump could be looking like he was winning on election day because of day of voting, and the early votes were going to make the difference. So that we could still very well see that. It will depend state by state. And in Nevada, last I looked, a lot of the vote that was outstanding was in Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is, which is a Democratic stronghold. So Biden's lead should grow there, for example. Pennsylvania, Donald Trump has what looks to be a monumental lead. That's going to tighten up greatly.
The notion that it was going to be a sweep may have kept some people away from the polls potentially, but certainly the motivation for the Republicans on day of voting was in full force. But we still don't have a decision. And so I think what everybody wants to know at this point is, what is the process? Is this going to end up in the Supreme Court? Will they be deciding the next president of the United States?
Look, I don't think they'll be deciding who the next president of the United States is, and it's a fallacy to say they did in 2000. It's a popular Democratic line. It's not true. The voters in the United States and 500 and so odd voters in Florida decided that George Bush was going to win Florida and become the next president. So I don't know that it will necessarily end up in the Supreme Court. A little premature to say right now. That said, I mean, the process will have to be finalized. You know, the president is wrong. Votes can be counted past Election Day. It's not called Election and Counting Day. It's called Election Day. This won't end until the House of Representatives certifies the results of the electoral vote.
Let's talk a little bit about that quickly in terms of Joe Biden came out and spoke.
And it ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted.
President Trump came out and spoke.
We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list.
Trump being Trump, I don't think anybody should be surprised by his rhetoric. Biden looked tired, but it was late.
It was early for Joe Biden.
But perhaps maybe that's one way of looking at it. But this is sort of one of those unique situations where the American electorate finds themselves yet again. It's not the hanging chads, Michael, but it's certainly just hanging by a thread on every single vote that's being counted. And most of those being the mail-ins, again, favoring the Democrats. Does this, though, get to a point where it will be challenged, and which states can be challenged?
Look, I mean, any state can be challenged. The states that might be challenged or more likely to be challenged are the ones where there's a close result and that we need to make sure, or that a candidate wants to try and invalidate a result going against them. So look at Nevada, perhaps. Look at Michigan. Look at Wisconsin, where it looks tight right now. Georgia, potentially, too.
Okay. So there was notion that the Democrats were going to have a phenomenal evening, including taking the Senate. Didn't quite come to fruition. In fact, the Republicans even picked up 4 seats in the House of Representatives, which probably shocked Nancy Pelosi greatly. But likely, if a Biden presidency happens, the Republicans hang on to the Senate. There's still a good balance of power systems check.
Yeah, and that's key. That's going to be key for getting judicial appointments through. That's going to be key to avoiding tax increases that would have huge economic ramifications. It's going to be key to renegotiating trade. It's going to be key across the board. So Mitch McConnell, as we were saying the other day, most impactful Senate Majority Leader since Lyndon Johnson, will still be Senate Majority Leader. Joe Biden is going to have to learn to play nice because Mitch McConnell will, I think, come out strong. And if Biden is to end up winning, start block in some cabinet appointments early.
All right, last question. Will Trump go willingly?
You
That's
know,
what everybody wants to know.
You know, Donald Trump yesterday on Fox and Friends referred to it as this season, not this election. Donald Trump is a showman. He's enjoying this. You know, Trump's going to be Trump.
All right. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.